Coming up today, we got more uncertainty in the market. People are hyping up XRP to extreme levels. We got tariffs announced on Europe and Apple. We got big deals with Oracle and Nvidia. We're going to be talking more about the earnings calendar and what to expect for next week, some stocks to watch, some supports and resistance, and way more. You guys don't want to miss this video. Let's get started. This is for all the people that want to risk a little bit more money, make more money, and take your trading to the next level. I made an option PDF explaining everything that you need to know about option plays, how to read charts, everything that you really need to know, some strategies, honestly, just how to make money on option plays. So if you guys are trying to take your trading to the next level, check this out. If not, that's okay. I try to teach you guys everything that you guys need to know on the YouTube video, so it's not really needed, but it's just if you want to take it to the next level. So to start, man, we did have a big sell on Friday. Honestly, a lot of things aren't really looking too good. We've been seeing the same thing, pre-market after hours. We've been seeing a decent sell-off and then people buying back after hours. Same thing here. We did have a bigger sell-off on Wednesday, but now we got to talk about stocks and how everything is looking. So we did lose that 590 level for the SPY and didn't even hit that 600 level everybody was hyping up. So honestly, man, there's some decent levels to watch for the overall SPY. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. But first, let's get into some news. So first off, XRP getting some hype. So some people are saying XRP to 27. We also have XRP to 100. And we also says buy XRP before it explodes to 1,000. I honestly don't think it's going to 1,000 is insane. I'm not even gonna lie. XRP is like $3. But with that being said, look at crypto and everything like that to the upside, especially Bitcoin. We got Bitcoin at 108,000. So right now, Bitcoin is trading at $108,000. We've seen some highs of 111,000 yesterday. And honestly, man, that is kind of insane for Bitcoin. So we're gonna be talking about some stocks to trade a little bit later, like MSTR, IBIT, and Coinbase. So honestly, stay tuned for that if you guys want to know some plays for that. But first off, man, we got some bad news for Apple. Apple fell below that $200 level. And honestly, it is looking insane right now. With that being said, roughly 85% of the iPhones are made in China. And honestly, Trump is urging Apple to basically make their phones in the US. For every phone that's not made in the US, there's going to be a 25% tariff. And also the EU, there's going to be some tariffs on the EU also. That's around 50%, which is insane. I made a short about this yesterday, but I want to double back on it a little bit more to kind of update you guys, because other companies too, like Samsung and other phone companies, if it's not made in the US, they're also going to be suffering from that 25% tariff. So look at Apple, Samsung, and other stocks like that to the downside because of that, especially Apple, just because of 85% of their phones is made in the US. But honestly, that 25% tariff doesn't really look too good. And honestly, Apple stock has erased over 100 billion already from Friday with this bad news. We're gonna be looking more about Apple, some supports and resistance, and honestly, just understand that news can bring down a stock. It can also get oversaturated with a lot of buyers and start coming back. So understand where the bottom might be and stuff like that. We're gonna be talking more about that a little bit later for Apple. But Oracle to buy $40 billion of Nvidia chips for OpenAI. This is an insane deal. And Nvidia is just getting countless deals and just honestly just countless good news. So keep that on mind and on your radar. So understand that we have Nvidia's earnings on the 28th. On Wednesday, the 28th, we have Nvidia. Nvidia is going to be big. It's going to be showing what the chip sector really looks like how much tariffs are really affecting it. So analysts are expecting another big jump in revenue. So honestly, we need a very, very big jump, especially for Nvidia. We've seen Nvidia beat before and still have a big sell-off. And honestly, the little meeting afterwards, they can say some bad things about tariffs and bring the stock down, even if it beats revenue by a lot. But honestly, what we're mainly looking for is it to beat revenue and also some great news overall with some deals. And honestly, if tariffs are really affecting it too much, and if it does, you might see a little sell-off. With that being said, people might ask him about the sales in China, and especially with that $14 billion loss that they had with the H20 chip, this might be affected and affect the stock overall. But going back to the earnings calendar, we do have Nvidia, HP, Salesforce, and some other ones. And then on Thursday, look at Costco. Costco can show like consumers and stuff like that, consumer spending. And like we've seen before with the Walmart and stuff like that, are they going to raise their prices or not because of tariffs? So keep that in mind, because that can really move Costco and other stocks too. With all that being said, if we look at Nvidia on a bigger chart, before the big sell-off, we got all the way up to that 150 level, and that's kind of the highs for Nvidia. I'm really pumped to see Nvidia up at that 160 if we keep on getting good news, but don't expect that within the next month or something, maybe by the end of the year, maybe. But with that being said, some earnings that we're kind of looking at, some numbers. So the estimate 0.745 and the revenue estimate 43.3 billion. If we can beat these, you might see a little bit of a spike in the market. And honestly, that meeting can really determine the stock price overall. With that also being said, look at some levels, some key levels to watch, because this can move up or down a decent amount. But we do still have Tuesday, because honestly, it's on Wednesday. So we still have Tuesday, the trading day. Keep in mind that Monday, stock markets are going to be closed. So honestly, man, we still got Monday So if you guys got some option plays over the weekend, understand DTE and the expiration. You should have got maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks ahead just to save your contract. But some things to keep in mind also, since earnings, a lot of times before earnings, the premiums are going to be put up a bunch and you really need the stock to move a decent amount. So honestly, if you really want to trade some option plays, I do recommend just doing the overall SPY. The Nvidia can move the overall SPY by a bunch, especially with this big market cap and big percentage in the SPY overall. But some levels to watch, that 132, 135, and 140. Honestly, it's going to move a lot. So we're going to see Nvidia very volatile probably within the next couple of days. But look at that 140 to the upside. If we do get great earnings and a great meeting, to the downside, look at 130 flat, 125 and 120. Honestly, if we start selling off, it's probably going to continue its momentum to the downside and or to the upside if we have some buyers. So keep that in mind for Nvidia. Looking at Apple with this big sell-off, honestly, just have your patience because we did have a little bit of a buyback at market open and then just start going down. So honestly, Apple is moving pretty slow now, but there is a lot of bad news. And honestly, just see how everything moves. Just keep in mind, good news, like if Apple does start making their devices in the US for a little bit cheaper, it can be good. But I also seen an article saying that the 25% tariff isn't really going to change too much because they're going to be paying more to make it in the US overall. So they might just keep that 25% tariff and just eat it like everybody else, you know. But with that being said, if we start seeing it go to the upside, that 200 level is going to be key. If we can break above that, look at 201.5, 202, 205, and all the way up to that 210 level. But honestly, we need some great news for that. Maybe tariff relief or something. And to the downside, look at 195, 194.5, and then all the way down to that 193.5, 192.5, and then 191, and then 190. Keep in mind that since we had slow movement, not too much volatility, honestly, a decent amount of volume. But honestly, man, I think we might either move down slowly and or start going up a little bit slowly too. But I think honestly, if Apple starts going up, we might go up fast to that 200 level and then start consolidating a little bit. So honestly, just have your patience with Apple. I don't even recommend trading this unless you see like good news or bad news. Honestly, just trade Apple based on news for the next couple of days and or weeks. Next up, I want to talk about SPY. So look at that 580, 582, 583.5, and then 585. We can break above that. Look at 590 next. To the downside, especially if we get a sell off in Nvidia, we're probably going to see other chips sell off. So honestly, man, if Nvidia has good news, other chip stocks are going to rally with Nvidia. If we get bad news, other stocks are going to sell off. Also, keep in mind that Nvidia does announce deals and bring other stocks up, so you can make a decent amount of money off of that. And honestly, I do recommend playing plays like that because you make a decent amount of money, especially when like the Oracle news came out or CoreWeave and stuff like that. These stocks moved a decent amount. To the downside, look at 578, 577, and then 575, and then all the way down to that 570 level for the SPY next week. We have it honestly looking like a little bearish with the SPY overall. So honestly, puts won't really do too bad, especially people are going to be anticipating this earnings. And honestly, after Nvidia, to see how it's moving. And if we're continuing this bearish looking movement in the short term, you could play SPY to the downside. Next one is going to be Palantir. Palantir is looking bearish like the SPY and honestly all other stocks. I think we got the hype with the 90-day pause, and then now we're getting some more tariff. I mean, we're getting tariff news coming back and just bad news in the market overall. So honestly, keep that in mind because a lot of stocks are selling off because of this, and you can make a lot of money with puts, especially if you get like a major bad news, major article that brings the stock market down. You can make a decent amount of money, but the same thing can go to the other way, to the upside, basically. But Palantir has been looking pretty bearish and kind of just been moving the same. You know, you might even get a buy at the beginning and or a sell at the beginning. And then honestly, it just moves a different way, basically. But with that being said, look at Palantir to the downside. I'll be looking at that 121.5. The lows past 120, if we can hold below that 120, we can probably even see it down at like 118.5 and then 116, making some new lows for, the past couple of weeks. So honestly, look at Palantir to the downside. But if we start buying back, look at 124.5, 125, 126.5, 127.5, and then all the way up to that 130 level. Honestly, I think Nvidia can move this a decent amount because this is an AI stock, and I think other AI stocks can really move with that. So keep that in mind. So next we're going to be talking about is Tesla, because honestly, man, we got up to that 350, kind of broke past it a little bit, but then hold it too much and too long. So honestly, that 350 to the upside is a level to watch because if we can finally hold above that 350, look at 355, 360. But in the meantime, going up, look at 344, 348, and that 350 level. And then to the downside, because we are looking a little bearish, but kind of just been holding a little bit, but not holding too much. Because honestly, if you want to see Tesla hold, you want to see it past that 345 for a little bit, because we haven't really been holding that 345 level too much. But honestly, to the downside, look at 338, 335, and then all the way down to that 330. I think with this tariff relief and honestly, Elon Musk coming back to Tesla a little bit more, it has been hyping up the stock. And honestly, robotics has been coming out a little bit more too, and coming out like pretty strong. Like a lot of people are putting a lot of money into it. So honestly, Tesla being a robotic stock, and people saying that, actually Elon Musk himself said that the robotics are going to take over the EV. This is more than an EV company now. So keep that in mind for Tesla, because you can make a decent amount of money off of Tesla. But now talking about Bitcoin, because we're at that 108 level, we did have a big sell off, honestly. But with that being said, people are saying Bitcoin is a safe asset, and a lot of people are putting more money. And MSTR, they just got approved. I think it was $2 billion to basically put more money into Bitcoin itself. But honestly, depending on how Bitcoin moves, MSTR moves the same way, Coinbase moves the same way. But the only problem with these stocks is, like, especially MSTR, the contracts are $3,000 to be in the money, and then Coinbase is like 2,500. Oh, now the premiums went down a little bit. Now it's 2,600. But for the same contract, if we go over and we look at IBIT, if we go over and look at IBIT, IBIT's like $300 for in the money plays. Now it's 400, so the premiums are going up a little bit higher. People are playing IBIT a little bit more, making a little bit more money. But if we go, like, let's say for the 6th of June, it's $260. So it's not too bad if you guys want to play IBIT. And IBIT is an ETF that moves exactly with Bitcoin. And I do recommend getting into some plays, but just learn how Bitcoin is moving. And if you see Bitcoin rallying, man, you can make a decent amount of money. Honestly, if it rallies decent, but then it also moves up and down sometimes too. So keep that in mind. But honestly, get some long-term plays and you can make a decent amount of money off of this. With that being said, though, thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.